few of their comfort picks in here. Lyra on one of those aggressive junglers so he can get back to some victories. On the Ivern, the Gragas, the Zac, we usually see him, or we see him rather, with the losses. Here he can go hard very early. And it is going to be that Gragas for TSM to level things out. Not the tankiest of teams on the side of TSM, but definitely can make a lot of things work in these team fights.
Yeah, they certainly can, and as it gets further into the game, they will get tankier, right?
For sure.
Because, you know, this Gragas is going to build up more and more tank stats, and once Lee Sin has a couple damage items, he usually goes into tank, so they will be pretty tanky in the later stages, but definitely in those early stages, they're going to have to be careful before Thresh builds up those stats. He's going to be getting poked out by the Zyra, by the Varus, and, you know, Rumble should be bullying early against Hauntzer, but you know, with the early game builds that most top lane tanks are doing with the triple Dorans and stuff, you should be able to survive that lane, farm it out, and look to make plays elsewhere.
And they avoid the objective fights as well. Stay away from the equalizers, the Galio entrance, and a lot of control here from the bot lane within the fights. Envy looking to have a good squad against TSMs, as likewise with their composition after picks and bans. Hashtag Envy win, hashtag TSM win. See a lot of that focus towards the mid and top lane coming over from TSM. Envy feels like they had to kind of control on Bjergsen and more so on Hauntzer. Those solo lanes are what they're going to try to also go after in the game.
And we'll see if they're going to be able to do that. Envy has drafted themselves a very AoE-heavy teamfight comp. But honestly, I think that they're going to have a lot of struggles when you're running a 4 AP composition. One of the things, like, you know, when you are playing a top lane tank, you know, as Hauntzer is in this game, if the jungle, the mid, and the top laner are all AP, it's so hilariously free to just stack MR that it's like, you almost get to the point where you can't die. Like, you almost get to the point where you can't even be ganked because you're itemizing for both, like, the jungler, for the mid laner who might be roaming up, and for your laner, all super efficient for him, and they're looking.
Oh, the flash forward to stop Bjergsen in his tracks. They lock down onto Hakuo. Bjergsen's gonna have that dark passage to safety if they even need it. We'll see what happens here as a result of this fight. Furion's trying to cut off
Apollo, right? Because if you can take down Apollo first in the fight, that's the only AD that the team has. And they have a lot of ways to do that, but Lyra coming in, nice sidestep.
On the cocoon, Hauntzer has flash up if he even needs to use it. He holds it, blast Lyra back. Very low, looks like the blue buff transfer is over to Hauntzer. He could refuel on this one. They call Furion to the top side, and he has been out of lane so much, it's just been giving Bjergsen free time, and Bjergsen will make it back to mid lane first again.
They've been trying so hard to make something work here on the top side against Hauntzer, but it is just not happening. And Svenskeren comes up with a sick play. So Hauntzer does actually body slam forward. This is, you know, prompting that gank. He doesn't have his escape available. Really nice sidestep. The equalizer is not that well placed at all. And then the kick flash from Svenskeren, flash forward, and the barrel takes him out.
Oh, Hakuo coming up. Deja Vu is the hook. Hits from Biofrost. We were wondering if that would be a last ban from
damage source from Bjergsen in the mid lane. You don't need to be itemized as efficiently for DPS.
So Hauntzer may be reading this. He does have Biofrost right behind him.
Sven's here too.
Sven, they're gonna do a lot of damage to Hauntzer though. They throw everything and the kitchen sink at him. He's gonna live out of that situation. Seraph's gonna be the first one to go down with turret aggro. Arrow just misses just to the right of Envy, meaning the engage does not happen. But they have been going at Hauntzer time and time again, and he still has not died.
Yeah, he just won't go down, and it seems like TSM keep living with slivers of health, the safeguard and the lantern shield, just like before, barely keeping them alive.
Those are the ones that make you stress out for the kills even later. We'll see here just how much he was able to absorb.
I mean, they see Svenskeren. They know that they are coming down, but they still decide to try to pull off that play. The lantern shield, the safeguard, again, barely keeping him alive. Seraph is tanking up that turret. He goes down, and that would have been a second kill had Lyra not flashed the arrow. So good flash by him to get out, but there's
equalizer. Doublelift in the eyes of Seraph. He does not want to give up. He is hungry, and Doublelift still is able to kite the fight out. He hits Seraph right on the backside. He says, don't let the arrow hit you on the way out. And it looks like TSM is able to turn this fight around. Furion now running for his life as really the only tank on the team, and that's not a good sight.
Definitely not. I mean, he had to bail out so early. Seraph almost got taken down by Bjergsen. Apollo was chunked low with no summoners, so there's no one to support that tank. And Galio will not be able to survive and keep trying. They know that they're going to get outscaled. They're looking for fights.
It's a good look for Envy, since Garen's going to start the fight dead if he can't take down Apollo. Apollo gets himself a cleanse to safety, and somehow
again, they get away.
Out with the CC of Biofrost and Double Lift. They turn the fight around for
great ultimate.
2 in favor of TSM. Pyrian way to the back line of the fight as Biofrost is in his own 2v1 situation. The cavalry arrives from over at Baron's side, and they look to wipe down Envy in the rest of the fight. 9-0 now for TSM.
Again, Svenskeren gets away with no HP. Has all this early MR, able to survive. It's got to be so tilting for Envy. 4-0 for TSM. They're going to get the Baron in this game. It's looking almost impossible now for Envy.
From top to bottom, this is kind of what it looks like when you have that advantage in every lane and continue to push it. Svenskeren in a real tight spot here, and this is usually what we saw kind of crippling TSM in the past, but they're able to turn it around.
I really feel like we've seen a lot of missed equalizers there.
Yeah.
That one, again, was not on Svenskeren, even while he was CC'd. He barely survived, and the same thing happened top side. So Seraph not able to connect with that. Maybe they could have gotten the 1 kill, but they certainly wouldn't have won the fight anyway. Even Biofrost gets away from that, and there's just, the carries are untouched.
Mid-lane situation at this point. Haunter feeling like he can take a nitty-gritty 2v1, and he is correct. Svenskeren says, I'm in. Oh, they get the Chain of Corruption now and half of Lyra's HP. They're starting these fights off with such an upper hand, it almost seems impossible for Envy to find a way through this puzzle, a way to orchestrate around TSM, because they are tap dancing their way through the in-hits and into the base. 10-0. 26 minutes on the clock, and they're making quick work of Envy's base now.
Yeah, this is just brutal. I mean, the adaptive helm is complete now for Haunter here, too. He's just walking straight forward, not a care in the world. Knows that there's no way Envy can ever take him down, and has that security blanket of the Thresh. So TSM closing in. They're looking to just finish this one out early.
You just said you give them more than one thing to think about. They got the top wave lane on their plate now. Can they drop Sven? They finally do. There's a kill on the side of TSM, and that makes them even angrier as they start going for Seraph. It looks like this might just be the game. A double kill for Haunter, as he was focused all game long, but gets his pay at 4-4. And 14-1, 27 minutes in, TSM starts on the Nexus turrets, and Envy will be looking for game 2 here.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've been thinking about game 2 for a while now, because this one was brutal. And Envy never got anything going. The first kill of the game for them as their Nexus is going down.
27 minutes.
Slaughters them.
TSM take down Envy.
Oof, that's a tough one. And that's what it's gonna look like